Warning: the contents on this podcast are the thoughts of our own and my guests. Tonight, we have Mr. J and Alan back from the fray. Now, back to the show. Nowadays, life is intertwined with technology. Let's figure it out. Welcome to Life Tech and Sundry. Good evening. My name is Marcos Lopez, and tonight we have the big three back together. Guess who's back? Alan from his adventures and Mr. J. My co-hosts are with me right now. Oh, and myself, of course. Welcome to Life Tech and Sundry. Please introduce yourself, gentlemen. From top to bottom, we have Alan.
What's going on, guys? Glad to be back. Do I have some stories for you?
Yes. And now next, not least though, Mr. J.
Yes, that is me.
Ow, I bumped myself with the pop filter. I'm okay. Anyways, yes. So tonight we have a list of products of
Articles.
Wink, wink, eye-catching things that caught my attention. Articles that we will go over and hopefully give our thoughts, if you will. Not only my own shower thoughts, but everyone's thoughts. Right, Josue? Right, Alan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So for this episode, what does the team recommend? For everyone to read a one, or should I just go hard on the paint and read all of them?
Yeah, read through all of them, brother. I do not mind.
You got it. Going in. Okay, so here we go with the LTS show notes. Let's do this. Get excited. Number 1. Environmental factors had a role in the evolution of human tolerance. Open quote. Today suggests environmental factors had a role in the evolution of human tolerance and friendliness. Environmental pressures may have led humans to become more tolerant and friendly towards each other, as the need to share food and raw materials became mutually beneficial, a new study suggests. This behavior was not an inevitable natural progression, but subject to ecological pressures. The University of York study concludes. Humans have a remarkable capacity to care about people well outside their kin or local group, whilst most other animals tend to be defensive towards those in other groups. Our natural tolerance allows us to collaborate today on a global scale, as seen with a trade or international relief efforts to provide aid for natural disasters. Using computer simulations of many thousands of individuals gathering resources for their group and interacting with individuals from other groups, the research team attempted to establish what key evolutionary pressures may have prompted human intergroup tolerance. The study suggests this may have begun when humans began to leave Africa and during a period of increasingly harsh and variable environments. The study was was concerned with the period 300,000 to 30,000 years ago, where McFlurry's archaeological evidence indicated, really, Josue, greater mobility and more frequent interactions between different groups. In particular, this is a time in which there is a movement of raw materials over much farther distances, much longer distances, and between groups. The researchers found that populations which shared resources were more likely to be more successful and more likely to survive harsh environments. Where extinctions occur than those populations which do not share across borders. However, in resource-rich environments, sharing was less advantageous, and in extremely harsh environments, populations too low for sharing to be feasible. Penny Spickens, professor in the archaeology of human origins at the University of York, said, quote, that our study demonstrates the importance of tolerance to human success is perhaps surprising, especially when we often think of prehistory as a time of competition. However, we have seen that in situations where people with surplus share across borders with those in need, everyone benefits in the long term. End quote. Read more at www.sciencedaily.com/. It's the link will be in the show notes, by the way, to all the listeners out there. Thoughts?
Well,
and the McFlurry, thanks, Josue.
Josue, do you want to start first?
I like McFlurries.
Hey, I don't think anyone disagrees with you there, buddy. I am known to enjoy a McFlurry or two, even in this cold weather. But I mean, for me, not my forte, not my background, right? In the evolution of human tolerance. I mean, I think everyone, not trying to spin this into a political type of thing, but tolerance, I would hope everybody is tolerant of one another. I think that's my hope anyway, at least. But does environmental factors play a bigger role or a smaller role, or does it really boil down to more so school starts at home type of mentality? Do your parents, do your forefathers, do your ancestors coming from a certain area or place in the world, do cultures really have something to do with our tolerance and how we not only ask for it, but also show it? I think that's also something that we need to take into account when talking about this subject. I don't want to take up too much time explaining this point, but as far as I'm aware, I know us three, we're family members. Our forefathers and ancestors came to a certain degree from Mexico, and be it pre-Hispanic, before the Spaniards came, or even after they came, you have a mix of cultures. Both of them have different ways of doing things, and perhaps tolerance was one of those things that they did not have, that they did not show. Obviously, we all, not that we're history buffs or anything like that, But we all know what happened during the conquistadores, right? The conquest,
yeah.
La conquesta of Mexico from the Spaniards, right? So I think their tolerance isn't something that was shown very much. They basically ravaged, pillaged, raped, and killed the indigenous people of Mexico, and forced their religious beliefs onto the people that were there. And from that, you have different types of mixes of people, and each of these people obviously evolved in their not only moral views, but cultural views and their tolerance of one another. We have people that are mixed between Spaniards and indigenous people, more towards the south of Mexico. You have people that were brought over to be slaves from Africa. So you have a mix of the indigenousness and the Africans that were brought to the shores of Mexico. And then you have a mix of the Spaniards or the French, years later. So I do see that there's a big mix, and maybe that does have a lot to do with the type of tolerance people have had or have with one another. And I think it's a very peculiar and a very, slippery slope when we start getting down to it, because we know, and I don't think it's a secret, but it's very palpable. You can see it over there where there's societal differences of, the rich, the middle class, and the poor. And it even goes down to a certain degree, down to your skin color or your height, or if you're, you look different.
Or if you're in the same team or not, unfortunately, sometimes.
I guess so, but I think it really depends on where you are in that country. I mean, I guess we tend to believe, or a lot of times, and again, this is just my personal thought, I think us as Americans, we tend to get caught up into our own type of ideology and way of thinking, and then we try to press that onto other people that are not from our country. And I think that's the wrong way about going about things like that. We have to understand and respect that other countries have other ways of doing things, and who are we to try to force those type of ideals onto other people? So and this is, again, I'm not trying to get too much into this, but I recently came back from the motherland, and there's a lot of not so much anymore, but that, from what I saw this time around, where there's a lot of, classism. People treat you differently if you look different. If you're light-skinned, tall, and have, different colored eyes, maybe you get treated a little bit better than people that are short, a little darker, and, aren't dressed as well as others, maybe. There's that type of lack of tolerance. But again, this is something that you will see when you go out of your bubble, maybe your household or your state, your country, and maybe over here it's a lot more or a lot less palpable. It really depends on who you ask, I think. But other than that, I mean, I think a lot of these little factors, or maybe big factors for some, do tend to make you think about tolerance and the way either you ask for it or you go about showing it to other people. And again, this is just my point of view. I don't know if you can gain or get any value out of it, but I mean, here you go.
Josue, any thoughts?
Well, I have many. But I mean,
regarding this,
I feel like the article was trying to explain, I guess, not so much the evolution of humans, but more of like human tolerance, and per se, like just that, like they explain here. I guess like a good example would be like, would you treat someone better if you were in a harsher conditions than you would be in a more suitable condition? So like, say for example, you're with someone you really don't like, but it's cold outside and you don't have that many supplies, so you guys need to work together to really survive in those harsh conditions, versus if you are in like a Cali or Florida weather where it's warm, it's hot, you don't have to do much to survive. All you have to do is just work a suitable job and be comfortable. Then that same person that you were with in those harsh conditions, we really have to tolerate that person anymore. Maybe some people be like, not really, because we're not in the frozen tundra anymore. We're in a nice relaxed area, the sun's shining, there's a beach outside, and there's no point. So I feel like this article is leading towards more that is like how does the environment factor into how us as humans tolerate each other, whether it be someone we respect and versus someone we don't respect. So I feel like this article might have some sense for it's like you might treat someone better that you don't like in harsher conditions to survive, versus that same person you probably won't care. So
yeah.
So
and just to emphasize, there were parameters that this individual was doing it in the time frame of 300,000 years ago to 30,000 years ago, where humans were definitely not on the top of the food chain. There we go. That's the word. So in this case, your attitude towards other unknown people would highly benefit with you being friendly towards them, because it helped you be towards your survival or the other individual's survival. What I understand right now with Alan is a modern take of different ideologies, physical characteristics.
But then that's that is a modern take, but that's not what the article is asking for. It's like, yes,
that's why I have to emphasize the parameters.
Those factors are true, but the article was talking about more of like the weather conditions in Mexico. It's nice, it's beautiful, you got that 60-degree Fahrenheit weather. Are you gonna tolerate the person who is talking smack about you, or are you gonna tolerate more the person that's helping you out whenever you're in need and is your buddy?
That's true.
There aren't a pack of wolves
versus like you are in Alaska, you're down to your last piece of salmon, and you're gonna have to work together with that person to really survive, because it's either you both die or you both survive.
Both live. Right.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right, Josue. And again, my take was totally something that was not even concerning of the actual article, and I apologize.
No, those are your 2 cents. There's no need to apologize. I mean, again, we can meme about it.
No. Again,
I feel like
I kind of like misunderstood what we were going through. Obviously, reading through the actual article, Josue has a point. He actually answered the question.
But there was no question. It was just your opinion.
No, because I feel there's confusion because they talk about many years ago, but you can even bring it up to now. Like I said, I bring up the example of like Alaska, where it's super cold. I don't know about you, but I won't last 15 minutes out there with no jacket on. Versus somewhere like in Florida, where I'm gonna last a while without a jacket.
Right. No, and I think Josue has a point, because even right now, again, just going back and forth, I was on a plane for 5 hours. 5 hours ago, I was in a place where the weather got up to 80. I'm over here now in New York, where the weather right now, the real field temperature is about 27 degrees, and with wind chill, you can probably, it probably feels even colder. It might feel like it's in the teens. So I definitely understand, and I agree with Josue when it's like, yeah, your way of thinking starts to change real quick when there's survival that's on your mind now, instead of laxing, having a sip of coconut water from your coconut you grab from a tree on the side of the beach. It's a very different type of mentality that you have when you're in survival mode. compared to when you're chilling because the weather is, darn near perfect. So it does make you think how that has made people think and change and tolerated other people in other countries where maybe the weather isn't so nice, or where it's so humid people don't know what to do with themselves, or where it's so cold that you understand that you have to fight to get your food and beat the polar bear to the punch to get your salmon or something, or
literally,
or build shelter so you can live somewhere where you're away from the rain or away from the harsh conditions of either sun or cold or whatever the case is. But I definitely understand.
What's a great movie example for this, Marcos?
Which one?
Ice Age.
Ice Age.
Oh, where's the baby?
Because you see the three, right? It's a mammoth, a sloth, and a saber-toothed tiger. They can all easily kill each other, but because of the situation in hand, they don't. They work together, and they become, obviously, because it's PG, they become buddies.
And they become family.
Yeah. But that might have actually happened. We're like, oh shoot, we can't kill each other now, because if not, we're gonna die anyway. So let's just work together.
Another one could be The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The little classic.
Oh, but I'm never ugly.
The Clint Eastwood. The environment was not friendly to all of them.
Right.
And they had to work together to survive whatever their past was as a human situation. But I like the PG version more of the Ice Age. I feel like that's a representation of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. So yeah.
Definitely,
so Marcos. So please, number 2.
I mean, may I pass the torch to someone else?
You want me to read really quick?
Yes, please.
Okay. So it says right here, number 2, the story of human evolution gets another rewrite with DNA analysis of Chinese teeth. So it's quoted right here. CNN quoted this or said this. Experts hailed the discovery in 2015 as stunning. 47 teeth found in a cave in southern China dated back to 1,000 million? Sorry.
1,000.
To 120,000 years ago, challenging widely accepted ideas about human evolution. It suggested that Homo sapiens were in China at least 20,000 years earlier than early modern humans had been previously believed to have left Africa and spread around the world. It also tantalizingly hinted at the possibility that a different group of early humans could have evolved separately in Asia. DNA analysis of 2 human teeth found in the same cave, called Fuyan, plus teeth and other fossilized remains from 4 other caves in the same region, suggested that like McFlurries, of course, it was unlikely early modern humans were in China so early. This time. No,
that one
know.
Wasn't.
I clearly read the rewrite. It was great. The researchers were able to extract DNA from 10 human teeth and establish the age of other materials in the caves, such as charcoal and animal teeth, using a range of different methods. The team found the teeth were at least 16,000 years old, while other materials were less than 40,000 years old. Read more at the CNN link that's posted in the show notes.
Thank you. That's awesome.
No problem.
So yeah. Are you guys okay with it being that there has to be a revision of history on a constant basis when new data that can be proven is found, or should it stay how it is nowadays presently?
Personally, I think that updates should be done every so often. I think with the accessibility of the internet nowadays, the information gets out there a lot quicker. But what I tend to see, and correct me guys if I'm wrong, a lot of the times schools or universities have books, and I know they come out with different editions every so often. I'm not sure if it's every quarter, every 3 months, or every year, or what have you. But these are the textbooks sometimes that are being sold to the student, and a lot of, perhaps, not sure, a lot of the data that's in that textbook or in that edition of the textbook is already outdated or misinformed, or there's something missing, and you still need or you might need the latest information in order for your whatever you're studying to make sense, or for it to be actually true. So I don't see it wrong that it needs to get updated every so often. How fast that gets done, I think to a certain degree is an issue in itself. But I think also what the process is, or how long the process will take to make these type of theories or make these actual analysis true or factual, or, without a doubt, this is what that means. I think that's also something to also take into account. I don't know how much time. I mean, this is an article or something that was shared since 2015. I'm pretty sure more information since 2015 has come out that hopefully either proves or disproves the finding. Again, I'm no expert. This is not my forte, but I would hope that the people at not CNN, but the people that are doing the actual study about these teeth, have other exhibits or other information like the charcoal, or other bits and pieces of information that they can layer up and make a more concise, or more concise type of information where it either proves it or disproves it. That way, the actual update of information that is given to people, actually is true. So again, that's my 2 cents. I don't know what you guys think.
The data was found in 2015, and it's been under review since 2015 to the present. So just to elaborate with you, Alan, it takes time for the data it took time for this one to even be corroborated. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So I agree. It's technically speaking 5 years old, but it took 5 years to even prove that this has a potential to cause an rewrite of what we know right now of modern history for humans, just to speak. And a personal experience, when I was in elementary school, Pluto used to be a planet. That's an example that I have that history does keep modernizing, updating itself.
Right. No,
that's my piece.
I totally agree with that. Again, my whole, not issue, but I guess you could say my 2 cents would be that a lot of times, and to your point, Marcos, something that is known to be a fact or truth right now could potentially change in the next 6 months to a year to 5 years. And I think that's something that we're always going to find in the scientific and in biological, almost in this case, science.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, I think it also kind of boils down to whether or not this either benefits us to a certain degree or not. Maybe maybe I'm just the type of person that doesn't see this as something that's mind-blowing and changes my life in a direct way. And maybe I'm being a little selfish here, but more than anything else, it's like, I think it's great that breakthroughs like this of this caliber are being done, because it does put a type of, it does kind of like create some sort of history and story, and it shows us where we're coming from and how that pertains in to the human history, and how that makes everything else make sense in the larger scheme of things. Where, okay, now I understand perhaps why the culture or why people from this area are maybe distinct from people from this other country, because they have two different lineages or something or other, or their DNA is different, and that's why perhaps we look different. Obviously, that probably is something that, for me, that I guess to a certain degree gets me motivated to learn more about it, or to, at least hear it out and be like, oh wow, interesting, I did not know that. Now I can share that information with others. But I mean, to that point, I guess that's where I'm at. I don't know about Josue. Maybe Josue has something else he wants to add to it.
Mr. J?
Again, I like McFlurry.
So you were the one that's writing that?
No, you wrote that. I didn't write that.
Alan, may you elaborate?
I like McFlurries as well.
No, but I mean, yeah, it's just, I guess, like,
it's an interesting tidbit.
Yeah. No, I was saying more for the article. Just I guess updating it, and as far as like how long, like as soon as you find something, like obviously, as Marco said, this took I think 6 years, because 2015.
Now 2021, yeah.
Well, yeah. So I mean, obviously, things need to take time to be confirmed, and to make sure that this is accurate and that this is brand new information. Because why haven't they found these teeth? But it just proves what's already discovered. It's already in the textbook. You're like, oh well, I mean, there you go. There's another example that we put in.
Right.
Versus something's like, okay, this is new. We haven't seen this. They're like, okay, let's put it in the textbook still. But as a news section. So it's got, I don't know how often they update the textbooks, but I think I've seen it, they update every year. But I mean, obviously, textbooks from even 5 years ago are going to be different from textbooks that come out now.
It's true.
May I interject? No? Just as an example, Alan, myself, and Josue went
did not get
to
my consent
school
to interject.
in different in different time periods to school.
It's true.
And I remember, and just to elaborate, we all went through elementary school at different time frames. My question is now, Alan, what was your knowledge of astronomy or of Pluto specifically back in those days when you were being taught about it?
Right. So, I was in school in the 90s. So a lot of the scientific type of research and information were heavily, or our resources were textbooks. Just to answer the question, Pluto was considered a planet back then. It wasn't until I think I graduated high school, and I think I was in either middle of college or I had finished college, that it ceased to be considered a planet anymore. And I think it was explained that it was a moon, that it pertained to, I forgot what planet, if it was one of the bigger gas planets. I don't know if it was either Jupiter or Saturn, one of these larger gas planets, and that basically it got hit by an asteroid, and it got pushed out of the orbit of one of these larger planets and ended up in orbit at the end of the solar system, or our solar system, I guess. And that's the reason it looked, or it was believed to be, a planet. But after the fact that because it was removed from the orbit of one of the bigger gas planets, and was the moon of one of these planets, it ceased to be, or was considered not to be a planet or part of the solar system. So again, I was a 90s kid. That's what I was taught, that it was a planet. And then years later, it stopped being a planet. So yeah, I don't know about you guys.
What about you, Mr. J?
Pluto was still a planet for me. Then I think I was in like the final years of Pluto being a planet, to suddenly it becomes a planet. I mean, it becomes a what are they calling now? Like an asteroid?
Planetoid. A planetoid.
A planetoid?
No,
Is
I
that
think-
what they call it?
I think no. Didn't they start with dwarf planet?
I remember they were saying that it was a moon of one of the bigger gas planets that was taken out of orbit by an asteroid, and now it reside at the end of the solar system. So again, so don't believe me. You want to fact check me? I'm telling you about what they told me in the 90s, that it was a planet, and then it wasn't until years later that it was discovered that it wasn't a planet. It was a moon that just got launched out of its orbit into a different type of orbit around the sun. So again, don't believe me.
For me, I grew up with the Magic School Bus.
Yes,
my planet. Miss Frizzle, you know, it was scary, that episode where the kid literally took his helmet off and he froze right there.
Homie, I thought died.
I thought he died too.
But apparently, you know, he was good. You know, you can take off your helmet in space. You know, nothing happens besides your head just turning into ice. You know,
fucking dead. But yeah, no, I mean, that was my time frame for learning the planet.
Right.
But during that time, it was a planet, and then I left the country. I found out it was turned into not a planet. Came back, didn't come back yet to the US. It got called back into a planet. It was, and then within me being in high school, it was being debated whether it should be considered a planet or not.
Interesting.
And then me graduating college, officially, it got called a planetoid. Lost the planet classification.
Oh, wow.
So it got revised at least 3 times in total, or 4.
Right.
And this was like a 20-year period of them evaluating its classification.
Okay.
20 years
Right.
to see it's a planet. It's not a planet. It's a planetoid. I'm being sarcastic here.
Now, do you think there's
just
another planet that's beyond the planetoid of Pluto that's orbiting around the sun, or no?
Don't get me started on that. That's a whole other can of worms that I'm into. I don't know if I described to you guys what I like. There's a reason why I got into engineering, but I like data. I'm not an AI, and I'm by no means, getting better at it, but I like to see trends. I like to see trends on science, history, everything. That's what I mean. Engineering filled my niche, my itch to learn, and it just propelled me to do more with other things now, considering how my situation is right now, my personal life. So I'm gonna lean on that more, that I do research on different things. Like, as you can see that we talked about during earlier before even recording, you saw all the random things that I saw regarding outer space, outside of Earth, right? You guys know I literally had 2 or 3 things regarding outside of Earth.
Yeah, no, I understand that. That I think it's dope. But what's it called? I did find this number 3 particularly interesting because of the I guess you can say the science behind it.
It's a fact, and it takes time. Real facts need to be verified, and it takes time. There's no rush. There's no need to rush greatness, right?
So yeah. Podcast number 3.
Number 3, can you read it for us, Josue?
Oh, me?
Yes, please.
Okay, I give it to you, Marcos. Don't worry.
I pass the baton to you, Mr.
I
J.
threw it back. No, okay.
And
you want me to read
missed me with that.
Oh, no,
missed me with that, and it goes to Alan.
What to say, man?
I was going to start reading it.
Sorry, apologize.
Thank you.
Chemists create and capture Einsteinium, the elusive 99th element. Scientists have successfully studied Einsteinium, one of the most elusive and heaviest elements on the periodic table. For the first time in decades, the achievement brings chemists closer to discovering the so-called island of stability, where some of the heftiest and shortest lived elements are thought to reside. The US Department of Energy first discovered Einsteinium in 1952 in the fallout of the first hydrogen bomb test. The element does not occur naturally on Earth and can only be produced in microscopic quantities using specialized nuclear reactors. It is also hard to separate from other elements. is highly radioactive and rapidly decays, making it extremely difficult to study. Researchers from the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, the Berkeley Lab, at the University of California, recently created a 233 nanogram sample of pure Einsteinium and carried out the first experiments on the element since the 1970s. In doing so, they were able to uncover some of the element's fundamental chemical properties for the first time. Read more at livescience.com. Yeah.
Oh man.
So one hot take for me is 99 problems, but Einsteinium ain't one.
No, it's
That's
the 99th
crazy.
element.
So that goes back to the periodic table and
Right.
look to what it was discovered with friggin' hydrogen explosion.
Was
Is
it
that a hydrogen
explosion?
reactor?
No, hydrogen.
the-
Oh, bomb.
Bomb test.
yeah, there you go.
But that's how they discovered it, no?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
in the 50s.
right. Again, going towards like the I guess the bottom part or the final part of the article. They're using nuclear reactors now to try to recreate it, right? And to make more of it, even though it's like in tiny quantities.
Nanograms.
But my whole thing is, what's the use for it or purpose for it if it's a byproduct of a hydrogen bomb explosion? You know, is there anything that can be like created from it or be used
I think
to
that's
do
what
something?
I think
They're
that's
trying
what
to
they're trying to
figure
figure out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like right now, there's no squeeze to be obtained from it. But what was the historically, just as a historical reference, what was the value of what of
Your pills, Marcos, your pills.
no historically, let's see, let's go for reference. What was the value of
McFlurries.
X-rays back when it got invented?
Yes, of course.
The guy literally killed his wife and killed himself learning about X-rays, and look what we know now.
But X-rays, I think it's a different take on, or a different type of example or model. It wasn't. It's not part of the periodic table, or it's not an element per se. It's more of an after effect of something that's very lethal. Put it that way. I don't think. I think the X-ray example is a valid one, but I don't think you can compare the two, because I think you can actually get something worthwhile from an X-ray. You can see something.
Yeah, but they didn't know that back then.
No, obviously, but I mean, you know what, Marcos? I think you are right. I take
It's okay, Jose.
I
It's
take
okay.
back what I said. I didn't see what you were saying, but now I do.
I'm just saying. And what say you?
I mean, I can see where Alan's coming from, because you're comparing it to an experiment that went wrong to an experiment that went right, but then the residue is there.
yeah,
So
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So, I can see where it's going to, but it's like, then I can see what Marco, because we don't know that we don't know what it does. So maybe they're trying to figure out what it does, and maybe, since maybe it might have some properties that we can use. Maybe we can make a new source of energy of it. Maybe some arc reactors out here.
Hell, yes.
Definitely.
Sorry, I must fix my tie. Yes.
He's like, I must fix my tie. So
But,
because like as of now, until now, I mean, we could even test it, because this thing just
freaking nanograms.
Nah, yeah. So if something is so highly unstable, we're gonna have to see how to get it stable, and then what it do.
literally a saying in Spanish, La última coca del desierto.
No. This is not the last coconut in the desert, Marcos. This is more of like, hey, look, a stick. What can I do with this stick?
Eureka.
It burned out.
Yeah, Reaver spear.
No, yeah, like it's a stick. It burned out. No.
Exactly.
Like it literally doesn't want to exist in this world, and we're like, we bring it back. Come back. Where you going?
No, yeah. So I mean, hopefully it doesn't result in something bad, because like it says, it's highly radioactive. So we're gonna have to be extra careful on it. I think I can see the guys in like some like almost hazmat suit type of level in the article.
At least a level 5 in hazmat suit protection or biohazards.
No, yeah, they have it under the what's it called, the thing that you have in chemistry. I don't know if you guys had it. It was like in the back for me.
What?
It was like, I don't know what it's called, but it's basically where like if you need something that's like highly, like you try to do an experiment and it's like highly poisonous or like highly intoxicating, and you put it there so it can vent out. They have it here in the picture in the article.
Yeah.
So over there, so you know they can be safe. Obviously, they have all the equipment needed for it. So yeah.
But yeah, 299 nanograms. I don't have a scale that can measure down there. Oh, 233.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a scale at home over here that can measure that much
It has
weight.
to be very
that
sensitive.
little weight. Emotionally?
No. Physically. It has to basically detect the slightest of weight on it.
Like I can blow air and it detects that.
Basically. So yeah, Marco, do you want to read number 4? Marcos? Hello?
I was thinking if Alan, could you I'm calling number 6 if possible.
Sure, brother. I got you right now. So
Thank you.
number 4, will the pandemic finally get Americans to embrace QR codes? So this is in quotations. QR codes, or quickly response codes, were invented in 1994 by Masahiro Hara, an engineer who worked in Japan's auto industry, with the goal of tracking vehicles and parts during the manufacturing process.
Salutations, Marcos here. This is a message to all the listeners out there. There are links in the show notes for our Twitter, email, and even show notes. Any questions or ideas for the podcast can be sent via these links. Now, back to our regularly scheduled podcast.
Instead of typing in a tedious URL, scan a small black and white label with your phone to instantly pull up a website or app. In the years that followed, other sectors including advertising, marketing, and online payment services adopted their usage. A wide swath of countries in Asia embraced the technology. In China alone, they can facilitate everything from charging mobile phones to flirting in bars. Now, in cities like Bangkok and Hong Kong, the technology has been tapped to help curb the COVID-19 pandemic. Codes posted at the entrance to grocery stores and public transit centers help contact tracing efforts in case of outbreaks. But in the decade or so since QR codes have been floating around the US, they haven't been widely adopted in the past year. Though spurred by the pandemic, the technology seems to finally be coming into focus. Before 2017, when Apple updated its iPhone software to enable the camera app to read QR codes, users had to download a specific QR reader app. Some tech industry insiders speculated that eliminating the minor friction would make the codes more ubiquitous, but even then, they never really took hold. Then opportunities arose during the pandemic, which prompted a rethink of long-standing norms and may have finally made the technology more permanently mainstream in the US. Read more at the fortune.com link. Definitely. I was actually thinking about this earlier today when I was coming out of, what was it? I was either at the supermarket or at the City MD place earlier in the daytime or in the morning. I was actually thinking about these QR codes. Walking alongside the street on Mamaroneck Avenue, I noticed that a lot of people were obviously freezing, not to death, but freezing, and, you know, going about their business. Obviously, people having coffees in their hands or waiting at the bus stop, though it was cold, but waiting at the bus stop to go inside to the bus. And it got me thinking to the time that I was in Japan, and people that were taking public transportation like the train more than anything else. A lot of people, all they had was either their Suica card or their cell phone. All they had to do was tap and boop, access and to enter and obtain different services were accessible through either the QR code or the what's the other type of not no touch type of technology.
Goods and services. Yeah.
Right, no touch services or technology to get goods and services. So I think that it would be awesome. And I just thought to myself earlier in the day, where it's like people going into the bus can just take out their phone, how cool it would be, or how great it would be in order for you to just hop onto the bus, tap your phone or tap your card onto the little console monitor or the terminal, and then, you know, it charges your card or charges the amount of money it needs for that fare, and you just go and sit down. No
that would be easy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no fumbling for coins or for cash or anything like that. I mean, there's, I guess, real world uses for it that would make you know, quality of life better. I still think that taking paper money and metal coins out of the equation completely isn't the smartest idea either, but I think there should be some sort of middle happy medium where you can have both, because there's a lot of
Taco Bell.
Yeah,
Live Mas.
No, because I know for a fact that people even nowadays are hesitant to partake or use those type of technologies, no matter how easy it is. And, you know, people can get swayed to use it more frequently if they get comfortable to the technology. I mean, not to say that you're going to dumb it down for someone, but, you know, make it accessible. And like the article said, you know, when Apple adopted a certain technology to use, and nowadays all you have to do is, you know, turn on your camera on your phone, and the QR code, you know, it scans it automatically, and then you can tap on the link that's provided through that QR code, and it sends you to wherever you need to go, which is amazing, which I used quite a bit when I was over there in Mexico, when I was Mexico City, you know, getting a bus ticket to go from point A to point B, or if I had to fill out a specific form in order for me to hop onto the plane, or let them know that I had taken the COVID test and I was, you know, negative and everything was okay. I mean, though, in that sense, it was very useful, very helpful, and very quick. So I see where it's coming from. It kind of also makes me think of that Amazon no pay store, or not no pay, but where you just go inside the Amazon store, pick up, grab whatever you want, and then once you walk out, it automatically scans your Amazon I guess code that's installed into your phone, and it charges you accordingly. And obviously you don't have to wait at the registers for somebody to, you know, check you out or whatever the case is, or you to personally you know, check yourself out. You just walk out and it charges you automatically. I think a lot of this technology would be beneficial to a certain degree in certain scenarios. But again, this is just my 2 cents. And again, to the article's point, a lot of and what it says, a lot of Asian countries have adopted this type of form of payment for goods and services. So I would hope that something like that would translate over here a little bit quicker in the state of New York. So yeah, I don't know what you guys think.
What say you, Josue?
Can I bring it back to Marcos? No. I mean, as far as like QR codes, I mean, because I mean QR codes are, yeah, they're. I guess you gotta agree with Al that they're pretty quick. They're easy to do, easier to scan, easier to have on your phone. You just show it up. You're like, "This is my code. Can you scan it?"
Right? That way you pay me.
Yeah. So you know, I mean, that sounds pretty cool. Obviously, there's gonna be, you know, people out there be like, I don't know how to use it. Like, you tell me to pull it up, I don't even know what you want me to pull out.
Right.
But I feel like, you know, it would be something good to have, especially like, just an off brand like topic here, like people out there with a mixtape, like, yo, scan my QR code, get my mixtape on my SoundCloud.
I can't wait until I go to New York City and that happens to me.
It's like, yo, you want to hear some great, amazing music? Yo, scan this QR code, get the link to my mixtape.
I think some lines in New York City have the actual Omni type of payment system where you just tap your phone and you can actually, you know, get access to the train that way.
No,
so
yeah, I think now you can like pay with your phone on the train.
Right. And even now, like there's, I think where we live, they have the application that you can download to basically add time or add money to the meter. So you don't get a ticket, you know, for overstaying your parking time, right? So I think things like that are going to develop slowly but surely. But you would hope that certain things would come quicker, just out of convenience sake, because sometimes you start scratching your head like, yo, and it happened to me a lot coming back from my trip into Japan. It's like, dang, like the convenience factor was just out of this world, because it's like, dude, I can go to a vending machine that's on the corner. If I want something to drink that's either hot or cold or a snack, just tap my phone and the Line app is connected to my card or whatever, or my Suica card for the train. Just tap it on the machine and I get, you know, a nice refreshing beverage or a nice hot soup or drink or a snack
or coffee,
right? And or going to the restaurant, to the ramen spot, and, you know, tapping my card or my phone onto the menu or whatever the case is, and paying for sushi that's on the conveyor belt, you know, or something along those lines. Like, I think that is an amazing type of use for that type of technology. And is it convenient? Yes, it is. Is it meant for everything? Perhaps not. But it does just goes to show that there's potential. And I think where we live right now, guys, or where we're from, I think there's sure to be some sort of store or place that is going to start adopting this earlier than others. And because of that maybe niche type of situation or service, they're going to have a really, you know, big following because of that. And people will have to follow suit, because it's like, wow, all I have to do is go there, tap my phone or tap my card, and I automatically get what I want or get what I need, without, you know, talking to a person or waiting to be helped. I can just go tap and go. That's great.
No. I got something to say.
Yes, sir.
3 things. One, I called it. I told my boss this back again. I work at the courthouse.
Right.
And back when the quarantine was, in the thick of it.
Yes, sir.
Even before then, I was like, hey boss, like, what say you about QR codes? And he's like, what are QR codes? I'm like, it's like a barcode, except that it's square and we can scan it. This was 2019, late 2019. He said, oh, what are QR codes? And I told him they're like barcodes, except that you can scan them with your phone and you can pay them. And I told him like PayPal. My boss uses Square.
Okay.
The Square app to pay or to get paid on his store at the courthouse. And I said there could probably be a feature where people could scan their QR codes and pay or get a list of products that you have, because it could even be as a marketing way that you scan the QR code and you can get a list of the menu of the day for a restaurant or for a deli or a diner, whatever the thing is, or put in the order, like you said, a URL, like it said in the
article, right? In
the article. So I was telling him about that, and he said, "I'll think about it." And then the COVID came through, and it didn't happen. But I agree. This could for certain areas it could be better. It could improve things. Now, with stores itself, like the Amazon situation, wouldn't that change the current style, the layout that stores are made? Because I feel like cash registers are a way to control the flow of people coming out of the store. Wouldn't that just require an overhaul because it would create a choke point, since everyone can just be scanned on the way out? Wouldn't that potentially have a choke point hazard because it's a doorway style? Wouldn't that require an overhaul to create either multiple exits or one big exit, an entire wall where the door was, just so that people can just walk out and they get scanned on the way out, like on that line thing that you scan out of the
right.
MTA?
Well, the thing is that they have a couple already, and I do believe there's one in the city, in New York City, where it's an Amazon store. There's still cash registers. They're present just in case, but literally, I don't know if you've ever been on one of the major highways and where you have to pay a toll, and you usually have an easy pass. What's it called? A mechanism that they give you in order for it to get read when you pass by, and it gets charged to the account or whatever the case is. It works basically in that way. There are still cash registers where you can pay just in case you don't have an Amazon account, but and there are people, or one or two people that are in the walkway where before you walk through, I'm pretty sure they have some sort of indicator where it says that something got charged or that specific item got charged to a certain person. So I do believe there's some sort of check and balance there that basically facilitates the workers or Amazon itself to know that something was purchased, and the quantity and and all the other stuff, that the metrics that they use to keep track. So I think there's already locations that are using this. Will it grow? Will it will that technology or that system grow? I think it's disrupting, or it's a very good disruptor in a sense, because other companies or other stores might want to adopt that type of way of doing things, and I think that's a good thing.
Yep.
Whether it be like a Target or a Walmart, Home Depot, and I don't know you guys. I mean, like there's memes about Walmart where they have like 10 cash registers and only like 3 are open, and the rest are closed. And you have the self.
That's a bad meme, right? Unfortunately, but a fact.
Right, or you have a self checkout, and then of the 10 self checkout, only like 5 or half of them are operational or even ready to be used. So I mean, I think it facilitates, it helps in one way to just help get people in and out, especially I don't know about you guys, whether you're in a grocery store, a supermarket, a bodega. It's like sometimes you just want to grab something because it's like it's not a big deal. It's you're grabbing something to drink or something like a bag of chips, and you just want to pay and go. And it's like you have to wait.
Convenience.
Right. You have to wait until either a cash register is open or the self checkout location is functioning, or there's an open spot for you to go check yourself out. So this type of technology is disruptive to a certain extent, and hopefully a lot other companies do manage to adopt it. I mean, just look at fast food restaurants like a McDonald's or a Wendy's or Burger King, where you can you can order off of the smart screen. You don't have to talk to anybody. You just order what you want, pay right there, and then go pick up your food inside. I mean, I think that's great. Does it facilitate or help in creating jobs? No, not really. You're basically taking away jobs from people. But I mean, technology is that double-edged sword.
That's another subject,
right?
So that's another branch,
right,
of its own that merits its conversation.
Right. Again, that's a double-edged sword, and that's probably a topic for another time. But I think right now, as it stands, it's something that we can look forward to a certain extent. Again, I like happy mediums, where we can have a little bit of both, not everything, but not absolutely nothing. So I think a happy medium,
silver lining, if you will.
Right. But again, that's my point of view, my thought. I don't know what you guys think.
I concur.
Yeah, me too.
Yay. So, Mr. J, if you will, could you read number 5?
Thieves nationwide are slithering under cars, swapping. Marcos?
Yes.
What does it say?
Swiping.
Yeah, but the next one.
Catalytic
converters. The pollution control gadgets are full of precious metals like palladium, and prices are soaring as regulators try to tame emissions. Michael Kevane, an economics professor in San Jose, California, didn't give a second thought to parking his 2005 Prius in his driveway one rainy evening last month. But the next morning, when his son, Elliot, went to start up the car, it sounded like a jackhammer, Mr. Kevane said. The whole block could hear the noise. The reason for the ruckus? A thief in the night had made off with the car's catalytic converter, a critical emission control device that contains precious metals more valuable than gold. 2 days later, Mr. Kevane's sister, Jean, who lives in Los Angeles, had a catalytic converter stolen from her 2003 Honda Accord LX. I thought this can't be a coincidence, Mr. Kevane said. Read more in New York Times.
In other words, high precious metals and people not using their cars that often could create a potential resource for unscrupulous people. That's, oh my gosh, that's just face palm slap. Oh no,
that's messed up, yo.
You know what we need to do, Marcos?
What?
We just need to take out the threat, and the threat's in Cali. So that's what we do. We just grab a giant saw and just let Cali see.
Oh,
there you go.
That's
everyone.
This is Mr. J's hot take.
Or what you could do is you could stop selling cars that are around that were made below 2010, and there you go. It's gone. The issue is solved.
You're right. Unfortunately, you made a point. You observed a point that it's specifically in California, where it's known to have a tighter control over emissions. So, you're not wrong in that statement that California has a tighter control and has created, unfortunately, a potential market for unscrupulous people to make away with higher than gold values.
Yeah.
But isn't that ironic an element that is Palladium, very rarely known. I used it for my degree project in engineering as a physical dampener for high kinetic energy killers. It's in the freaking catalytic converter in a car.
So
Yeah,
what
that'll
you're trying
get
to
your
say
car
is you want to swipe
broke
people's
into.
cars.
I just want to say, warning, all those people with cars, be careful. Which means me, my mom, my dad, Mr. J.
Well, I
Alan.
don't know specifically cars.
Well, this is
It-
these are gasoline electric cars, aren't they?
No, these are gasoline cars.
No, because the Prius is, I'm pretty sure it is a gasoline electric, no?
No, but I don't think the Honda Accord is.
Are you sure? Doesn't it have an ecosystem installed?
I don't think it was installed in 2003.
It's an emissions control system. Does every car have a catalytic converter? That's the bigger question.
I mean, I don't know.
Huh. I mean that's probably
yes.
that's probably maybe a subject for another time. But like again, if cars have that type of have a catalytic converter, it's because they're trying to have lower emissions, right? So it does.
It's yes.
So it does serve some sort of purpose that when removed, your car starts sounding like a jackhammer. So yeah, that's something that that's crazy to hear, because it's like who in their right mind besides like maybe a mechanic would know how to disassemble that specific piece and sell it for parts, I guess, and make a profit off of it. So that I think another issue here is that a lot of this has to also do with maybe perhaps people not going to work anymore and they're just leaving their cars parked because you can work from home now.
Prime for the picking, unfortunately.
Right.
And it basically this creates a profile of the individuals that are swiping the converters. They're knowledgeable. They know their way around the car,
Right.
and they know how to flip it for some cash.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Which is the more important thing, right?
And the parts are more valuable than the car itself.
Yeah, they
Maybe.
sure are.
Palladium higher than gold. So imagine swiping, let's say if they're saying 10 grams, they can swipe 10 grams off of one car, which I doubt it's gonna be like milligrams, but let's say they can swipe at least 1,000 cars, parked cars in LA. How the situation is right now, they can find at least 1,000 cars in the parking, a couple parking lots.
Right.
So according to this, palladium prices per ounce is 2,332 per kilo.
How much is 1 gram?
$74
per ounce.
Mhm.
$74 per gram.
Yeah.
And how much is gold per gram?
Is it any more? I think it's, let me see.
I'm calling 100 and change.
Let's see. So gold per gram is 58. 58. Yeah. What else? Hello?
$20 difference. Damn.
Yeah, that's quite a shocker.
So
But yeah.
if you don't want your palladium swiped
Right.
out of your car, just it's gonna get crazy out there.
Yeah.
Well, I think also it's specifically more, or it's specifically it's happening more, or at least what the article is indicating in the city of Los Angeles, and and again, maybe that has to do with the current situation people are finding themselves in, where it's like they're trying to make money right now since they have no jobs.
But what I'm trying to say, this creates a profile for criminal catchers. Like, it's an individual that knows its way around the car, that can camouflage himself as an essential individual that can be in the streets, and that knows how to fence metals. Or it's a team effort.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of not exactly, but I don't know if you guys seen that movie Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Maybe,
And
yeah,
Miss Angelina.
right. Maybe they're not stealing the whole car, but they're stealing a car part, and they're trying to, do it in a certain time frame so they don't get caught. So yeah, no, it definitely creates some sort of profile for the individuals that are stealing these catalytic converters. But I think, again, it really does boil down to probably the situation people are finding themselves in, with not having money or a job, and hurting really bad because of the situation that they're putting themselves through, stealing these car parts in order for them to make money. Again, is it right? Is it wrong? Obviously, stealing is wrong. But maybe the situation has forced them to do these type of things.
That anonymity, if you will, to not be known who it is, and to squander off in the night.
I mean, I think it's kind of also a little hard to say maybe no one saw it, because I mean, realistically, you might have to pop the hood or go underneath the car in order for you to.
It's under the muffler in the back end.
Well, there you go. It's like, how many times, or how much of an opportunity do you really have to get yourself on the ground, take the time, the tools needed to take out that part. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not, a 1 minute, type of situation, and you take it out and no one's going to see it, or the car doesn't have an alarm, or there's no cameras, in the area to catch you in the action.
Like, the alarm.
Right? I mean,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I mean, people are pretty bright. I mean, people have Ring doorbells nowadays. I'm pretty sure a camera has caught a person doing something that they're not supposed to do, or grab something that doesn't belong to them. I mean, security cameras on the corner of certain buildings, or
of one's house.
Yeah,
even.
or homes, that are going to catch someone in the act of, stealing, grabbing something that's not yours. So I think it's a little far-fetched that, or not far-fetched, but a little bit dismissive that, oh, no one knows who it. Like, come on, really? I'm pretty sure someone caught it on film. Nowadays,
yeah,
more news to come, most likely.
Yeah. Pretty sure.
I'm telling you, there's a crime investigation unit on a task force, at least, because this thing has a lot of potential for money.
Yeah,
its weight is worth more than gold.
Right. You're not wrong. Brother.
Which, again, you're saying that the risk is worth the squeeze. No, what's the saying? What's that, Alan?
What? Oh, the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah. This creates a profile of the people's knowledge base who's potentially doing it, because I know I'm not going to be getting down there and sweeping the muffler off a car.
Or are you?
and not tripping on the alarm.
Right. I mean, you must have some sort of background knowledge of mechanic and automobiles in order for you to understand what part you need to take out. Because I'm pretty sure you go to you're gonna go fence the actual car part, and they're gonna look at you crazy because, like, yeah, I need the catalytic converter, not the muffler. And you're like, isn't it the same thing? It's like, no, it's not. It's two different things.
Clanking the entire tool set.
Right.
Imagine how efficient this guy is. He's probably bringing one, maybe two, and then a flashlight. Or in the dark.
I mean, I don't know.
Or he's probably just bringing his trusty old wrench and just knocking.
I'm telling you, yeah.
I mean, again, how heavy is the catalytic converter?
Let's
is it like
find out. Hold on.
Is it like a pound? Is it like a half a ton? I mean, not half a ton, but I mean, obviously, I'm exaggerating now, but it has to be something that's pretty heavy. I'm guessing. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's also like, oh, it's the size of a book or the size of a cell phone. You can just put it in your pocket and just walk off with it.
Marcos, what do you think?
I'm Googling.
But yeah, I mean, do you want to just go straight to your to the next thing?
It's basically the muffler. It's basically the muffler in the back end.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's within the muffler itself.
Okay. So there you go.
So swiping the entire muffler.
Yeah, you look kind of odd, walking around with a muffler in your arms, or in your backpack. But yeah, let's
a muffler shift.
Let's move
muffler
on.
shift backpack.
Right. Let's move on to Marco's shower thoughts. Number 6. Marcos, if you'd be so kind.
Okay. Marco's shower thoughts. The power of the drive to and fortitude to do more keeps me inspired and motivated.
And happy.
Quote, Sled Driver, Flying in the World's Fastest Jet by Brian Shuey. This talk was presented at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory on November 5th, 2016. This video is basically a presentation of a guy that had a horrible experience in his life, and that his experience of him being for around 2 years or a year in the hospital recuperating, he reached the point that he wanted to give up. His entire body had suffered burns. He was a fighter pilot in Vietnam, had an accident, and had to be sent to the hospital to Japan. In that period, his body had suffered 90% of his skin had suffered first through second degree burns, and he was badly mangled. He was in a plane crash and survived, and his body just couldn't accept food for at least a week or two. The guy went into the hospital weighing 180 pounds. And towards the end, where they were giving up on him, he was weighing 119, 118 pounds. And they were saying, you gotta eat something, you gotta eat something. They gave him hospital food. He would throw it up. He couldn't eat. And one of the guys that rescued him came in. He was like a 22, 23-year-old. He called him kid. Came in and he said, look, I brought him food my sister made for me. I'll bringing you like a lunch bag. Let's see, what can you eat? Something so you can survive. And he couldn't take anything down except for one thing. A Kool-Aid Jello container.
That's wild.
And he said, oh my God, this tastes like heaven. And he didn't throw it up.
Oh no.
At that moment, the doctor saw him do that. He was the reason why people are taking Jello nowadays in the hospital. Because he managed to take it down. Like, okay, let's go to the local bodega or shop and bring him as much Jello as they can. Within a week, he consumed over 5 gallons of Jello.
Interesting. Oh, that sounds delicious.
In that process, they also pumped in the Jello vitamins, minerals, everything that they could, so that he can be suero. How do you call that in English?
Electrolytes.
There you go, electrolytes.
Like a Pedialyte almost.
Yes. In the second or third day, I think second day, he was able to urinate. Like, this is good. This proves that your organs are working. And, he slowly came back. There's so much more detail that literally put a tear to my eye when he said in the story. When he came back, he said that they said, if you make it out walking, you're going to retire the military. And you're probably going to hopefully be able to walk and do your thing, but no longer military. He was a military brat. The military was his life. He said, no, I must not give up. He changed that mentality, that point of mind reference of never give up. He trained physically, he trained mentally. He qualified to be a pilot again. And everyone looked at him like, was saying, good in the military in the 60s and 70s. They're like, good, this is good. Now we're going to give you a desk job. And he said, no. He did different physical evaluations. He became a F-16 pilot. He became an F-15 pilot. He became a Warthog pilot, to the point that he even trained other people. He got all the possible flight tags that you can get, like as certifications. He even he went to different trainings, and they treated him like a 10-foot pole, because they knew his story, but at the same time, they knew his story. So like, come on, you got this, let's go. But when the mentality that they were giving him, the no answer, and he didn't like that. He confronted a lot of people because of that no mentality. Like, why are you being a negative Nancy or stuff like that? And there was a point where there was a certification for the Blackbird, right? The qualifications in the 70s. And he says, you know what? I'm going to do it. And people in the Air Force were saying, no, you know what? You basically have to be an astronaut to do this. They're like, they were giving him a negative mentality. And he's like, challenge accepted. Turns out he scored the second highest in the entire SR-71 physical evaluation. Even though he had like scars all over his skin. But that didn't mean anything. He made it. And then the rest is history. There's a bunch of other stories that he said. I don't want to spoil them. But at the same time, I told you guys the one with the Russian defector, right?
Kind of briefly.
Well, that's one of them. There's another one that he said that that they were flying over the United States. They do a SR-71 speed check across the West Coast. On the daily, they had to fly. Is it okay if I tell you guys the story, or should I just let the YouTuber, the video, say it on its own?
I mean, we can watch it after.
Yeah, later.
Okay, yeah. Let me. One thing he says. Let me just say, speed check. He says, the tower says, "Oh, tower, we got you flying at 1,497 knots, which is around 1,500 or 800 miles per hour." Like, sir, we're actually flying a little bit over 2,000 miles an hour, sir. Like, they speed check the tower, the flight tower. Everyone in the Air Force just in the Navy just what he said, just shut up in the radio frequency, because the big boys, the Super Hornets in the 70s were saying, oh, we're going around 600 miles an hour. Speed check, SR-71 going over 2,000.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's an awesome story. Like, his personality, he said he called himself a 12-year-old.
Oh, he felt like one?
Yeah. That mentality, like he was a child again because he was reborn.
Right.
Broke speed records, broke physical requirements, medical records, all those things, but out of a horrible life experience.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That's one. That's one of the thoughts. Next thought. This one, I mean, I kind of like it, but at the same time, it's very, 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 take it with a grain of salt, okay? All these are my thoughts, and they're just not, take it with a grain of salt, that's all. Okay, next one. There's a theory that maybe, big maybe, humanity was planted/penned on Earth. If this is true, for whatever reason, that maybe it has cultivated an interesting result. Why? Because out of all the different species that exist and have existed, humans have proven to be resourceful and unafraid to use force. In its recent existence, it's decided to preserve other species. I don't know what that says of us, but hopefully it can get better. In other words, like, not only have we worried about our own existence, but we've also tried to, in the recent history, to open preservations, be helpful towards our own environment. We're not just being take, but we're like, okay, let's try to hold back. Hopefully that can be a positive outtake towards human species itself. That's what I'm trying to say. And then the last one is my personal experience. The drive to survive on this competitive planet as a species can be exemplified in me, my name, my life experiences. Example, I don't know if you guys know, basically I'm visually impaired, but I wasn't born this way. I was technically attacked by bacteria. And this bacteria, on hindsight, did a lot on my body, or made me a lot of things, to the point that I would have to go and do blood work every 2 weeks and MRI every month. Since I was before 9/11, by third or second grade, I would have had already over, how many months are there? Okay, 12, 24, 48 MRIs within 2 years, or 50 MRIs within 2 years, since I was in second grade. And a bunch of blood work. I lost count. Every like before the MRI, blood work; after the MRI, blood work. Since second grade, I would have to, and stopped receiving this blood work once I left the country, because I went to do my own personal things in life. But during that entire time, they even said that my growth can potentially be stunted, or I could have cancer because of how much I was going into the radiation room. And they would pump me with so much steroids and different things that would weaken my
immune system.
my body's immune system, skeleton. I was running at 30% strength constantly. I used to live over there by where Alan used to live. You saw me, right, Alan?
Yes, sir.
My slow change, but that was thanks to science, and at the same time thanks to my body, internal body, that the bacteria itself, they told me back nowadays, it could have killed me 3 different ways, but thanks to my body, it only isolated it in my eyes, which left me visually impaired, or potentially for a while left me blind. But thanks to science, I was brought back. I told you guys the story, right? What the bacteria does.
Yeah, I think you told us that it kind of like I think you said it either merges with the nerves that connect to your eyeball, and it eats away at it and makes your eye glassy, so it basically takes your vision away. But I'm not sure. This is just me trying to remember what you were telling me.
That was one. That's the thing that happened. The other 3 that didn't happen. One, it killed me right off the bat in the nervous system.
Right.
Just went to my brain and just killed me. The other one is that my body would be killing my skin, because it would attack the skin itself. And that would be the biggest example of a bubble boy.
Yeah.
And the third one,
okay.
And the third one was that I would just be in a coma. Man, just be in a vegetative state, because it would have gone into my brain itself. One was nervous system, the other one was brain, and the other one was skin. And my body isolated it into my eyes. So, it's out of all the possible things that could have happened, as its survival, its drive to survive the organism that is me, I'm kind of shocked. I could have died 3 different ways. And then later on in life, with whatever shenanigans I did, I could have died in many other ways. But that's just an example on this planet, that this planet is a competitive one. And us not only being able to be competitive, but now, on the recent history, to be able to worry about other species of animals to preserve them is a great thing. What do you guys think?
You want to go first, Josue, or you want me to go?
Oh, you go first.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thanks. No, to your point, Marcos. Yeah, I see where you're coming from, like survival of the fittest type of situation. And yeah, thankfully, due to the advancements in, science and, I guess just human intuition and knowledge.
Hey there, this is Marcos. This is the end of part 1 of the LTS podcast. Come back on part 2 for later on the week. Right, Josue?
Yes. So it will come back in. If it's Tuesday, I'll come back Thursday. If it's Thursday, I'll come back Tuesday. And if it's Tuesday, yes. And it keeps on going in a loop.
And we are on East Coast time.
So I think the last intro, I said 4 hours or 3? I think 4 hours. Yeah, it's supposed to be 3. So don't listen to past me. It's 3 hours, not 4.
Meaning if you're on the West Coast, you're,
If you're on the West Coast, you're 3 hours, I think, ahead of us, or behind. Behind. Yes, behind.
But yeah, thank you for.
It doesn't matter because it posts these early in the morning.
So thank you for listening to us, to Life Tech Sundry. Oh, and don't forget, there are show notes down below.
Come back. Thoughts are too much.
Please. But yeah, there are show notes. There's a link for the merch store. There are all the other things. Just read the show notes. And thank you once again for listening to Life Tech Sundry. Talk to you later.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Hi there. Thank you for tuning into the LTS Podcast. All the notes and more can be found in the description. By the way, we have a social media page where content is posted regularly. Feel free to reach out at us through there or via email. Both are found in the description. When you support the show, we have a merch store where you can buy an item that you like. If buying merch is not your thing and you just want to support the show directly, we also have links to those too, if you'd like. Thank you. Also, every comment is really appreciated. Credits in the description as well. Peace.